in this video I'm going to drop a banger, okay? I'm going to show you guys my past 3 swing style trade positions. Okay, so here's dollar yen. We're now just going to start off with the higher time frame. Now, on the higher time frame, we can see that if you just zoom out a bit further, you see that price has tagged this low on the weekly. It's more of a weekly low right here. And we've tagged that value area. Now we've committed, we sold off, and then we've retested the back end of this low, committed to the upside again. Now, the thing is, overall, I'm looking at this all as bullish. However, does that mean that we cannot get any temporary pullbacks? Because look how long we've been buying for. It naturally means that we're either going to continue from here, or if not, and if we fail from there, we're most likely starting to come back down to the downside, maybe even pull back into here, or these sorts of areas. So we can still capitalize off of these areas if the continuation to the upside fails. Now, we can see that here at the value area, it wasn't the best price action for the short, because in a sense, price was actually building volume in this sort of 3-touch structure to go to the upside. However, this is where an advanced level of understanding price action, this is where it comes into play, where you understand how to pivot. Now, the completion of the structure would be the 3rd touch, would be here. Now, what do you usually see from a 3rd touch? You see price rejecting and then committing to the upside from here. However, what did we get here? We didn't get that. We got price selling off, and then we start moving sideways. Now, if it's moved sideways for this long, what's the probability of this now going to the upside? It's very unlikely. Now, just looking at this price action here, you got this reversal. You sell off, you pull back, strong impulse, and then you have this 1, 2, 3. Now, it gets even better when we go down to the 1 hour. And we're not trading on the 1 hour, we're just looking at what's happening in the 1 hour. Well, we can see that price sold off and broke this value area with this hook point. We then have this 1, 2, 3. Now, if I draw this on a bit more accurately, you can see that the hook point is sitting right here. So we can see this hook point. We've got this 1, 2, and 3. Now, why wouldn't you take this right here? Well, because you can see we slightly near missed, and on the 4 hour, there wasn't really a valid entry here. So for me, I waited for price to scoot back up, actually tagged the value area, and then I went on the 4 hour, and I was looking for this entry candle, a specific entry candle. So after I saw this candle, I was happy placing my entry here, placing my stop just above for around about 30 pip, getting in on a limit order play. And with this sort of range where you've got correction, more so into a larger correction, I was more on the cautious side because I wanted to actually take profit at the bottom of the structure instead of waiting for the whole larger hold, right? So what did I do? This is a very, very simple management, and this shows the power of the system that we trade in Falcon, is that we had this entry, right? This is around about 6 a.m. So the great thing about trading the 4 hour is that if you're able to know exactly where to get in, on what specific structures to get in, you'll be able to play the ranges of the lower time frames, but on a higher time frame. You can see price whipped this in, sold off in the limit order play. We then, very simple management, after we sold off to around about here, we moved to break even. Price pulls back, drops back down, hits TP. So simple. Honestly, this is probably one of the most easy trades to manage that I've ever taken, to be honest. So this hit TP for around about 5%. Beautiful trade, honestly. It just goes to show the power of, you don't have to be on the lower time frames. This whole notion that this industry has told you that you need to be on the 1 minute time frame, you need to be on the 15, you need to be on the 5, just scalping all the time. Now, there's a smart way to quote unquote scalp, but in the right areas. But really and truly, your consistency is mostly going to be based on the 1 hour, 4 hour, 15 minute, because they have the higher strike rate. Understand what the time frames mean. If we understand what the time frames mean, then we can know where we can build our foundation. Now I'm going to make a separate video on bread and butter setups and setups that you should be taking over and over again. That's a separate story, but just a little hint is that not all your trades should be on the lower time frame of the 15-minute, the 5-minute. Like, you shouldn't be relying on those. You should be relying on the weighted time frames, such as a 1 hour, 4 hour. All right, these are the efficient trades that you should be taking that will build your base. So that's dollar yen. Now moving on to the next one, which was pound Aussie. So this is a pound Aussie trade. You can see on the higher time frame that we've got price tagging this value area here. Now, is this the best sequence that we've ever seen at a value area? No. You don't usually see price forming such a clear, deliberate evening star formation and then just messing about in that value area above. But we've taken a message from the market. We've seen that price has actually scooped back up and tagged a value area. So I don't have to wait for this whole run to the downside now, because it hasn't given us our orthodox reaction. So what I do want to do is I could just play the range, just play the completion of the range. Just not always looking for those huge runs. So on the value area, I just box off this range right here. I can see that on the higher time frame, we've had the high test and we have had the follow through. We're very close to that low. And now if I look at this structure right here, we can see that price has scooped back up, right? We sold off. We didn't react from this area to go long. We actually broke back with a lot of bearish momentum. So you can see that right there. Now, price then starts to slow down. It creates this value area here and it sells off. However, it then pulls back. But the key crucial thing is here, there was nothing to the left. There was absolutely nothing to the left that caused it to push up to the upside. It was more so just price building up volume to come back down into this low. So I see that as the line in the sand. There's literally nothing sitting above other than the retest, which would be right here. Now, am I really worried about the retest? Not really, because we've got such a strong 4-hour rejection at this value area. I'm not really too bothered about having a little bit of a gap towards the retest. So I can see here that we've got this 2-touch structure. We've got a clear near miss to the low, and then we've got a strong evening star formation. It's just as simple as that. I'm happy entering in this value area. I'm happy entering and playing this range. So what do? So I simply just place my entry right here, and I place my stop loss in a specific way that I'm not really going to go into, because that's more so in the advanced content that you should probably go check out yourself. We've got a 7-to-1 just down into this low. And on the 4-hour, by the way, do you usually see that sort of risk to reward on the 4-hour? It's a reliable time frame and we're able to enter in clear fashion. So we get tagged in around about after swaps. So here at 10 p.m, we place our entry, we get tagged in, and then literally just a quick tag out. Now, you're not always going to win. Even though it's a higher strike rate, doesn't mean you're always going to win. This is a beautiful trade. You had everything. You just got to learn to just take it on the chin. It's probabilities at the end of the day. You're not always going to get 100% strike rate. And if you are looking for 100% strike rate, then you're in the wrong game. So that's pound Aussie. The next one was CAD yen. Okay, so now we're on CAD yen. This is the last position that I'm going to go over. CAD yen, what can we see? Well, we can see we've got this sharp value area right here. All right. Sharp value area. How can you identify that? Look how much momentum we got from this value area. Right. Price came back down to it. We near miss ever so slightly, and then we pull back up. Now we have to go down to the 4-hour to see exactly what happened on the lower time frames. But we can see here, price formed this continuation. It sold off, and then formed this hook point. Now this was the hook point that originated this move right here, and then we can see that price came back up and near missed this value area multiple times before eventually taking it out in the form of what? In the form of a 1, 2, 3. So this is very deliberate structure that we've got going on here. We can see we've got this clear range that we want to play now. We've got this range from A to B. Any possibility of this going long was negated after price impulsively broke this low and then started forming this volume below. It's showing us a clear change of sentiment. Now, if you're taking a trade here, you're most likely going to get tagged in and out. However, if you're waiting for the clear change in sentiment of the break of this sharp low right here, because why? This could be the base of this continuation to the upside. So now that we've broken below, we've kind of negated any real possibility of this going long. Of course, it could possibly go long, but I'm just saying in the sense that if we look at it from a thesis point of view, building a thesis, you wouldn't now forecast a long from here. So now we can see that we got this structure right here. Now, price then develops further, and you may be asking me, like, why are you on the 1 hour if we're looking at swing entries? Now, I wanted to address that. The 4 hour, the way that we play the 4 hour, it's such a good way because it's in certain places you'll be able to catch trades that you may have not caught in your time zone. You may have not caught it in your time zone just purely because of luck, right? But this trade right here was at 3 a.m. However, on the 4 hour, I can see that 4 hour closed as a retrace at around about 2 a.m. Now, price stalled for a bit, and on the 6 a.m. candle, right? So this is the 6 a.m. open. I woke up around about 6 a.m. right? So price was floating around about here, and I was able to actually enter on a trade that I would have usually missed. It is a bit of a wider stop loss because if we compare, the best entry would have been right here for a 21 pip. Now, I'd rather be in a trade that is high probability and high quality than not be in a trade just purely because of greed of 9 pips. Like, I'm not really too bothered about that. As long as I can manage it to the bottom of the structure, I'm perfectly fine with that. So what do we get? We enter here, right? We enter on a normal risk entry. Now, there's a reason why I did. I'm not going to go too much into detail on that. But we clipped the wick because we got strong confirmation on the 4 hour. Now, we've got tagged in around about here. I was tagged in with a limit order. Around about here, I moved to break even. Now, I was looking for the completion of this range right here for a take profit to down to here, and that would have been around about a 6% trade. So price keeps developing. We drop out a bit further. I move my stop to here. We drop out a bit further, but now I can start seeing some rejections. Rejections at where? Close to this base. Now you can see that we've got this gap here, but this is kind of like an area where you want to be a bit careful because this gap, really and truly, the inflection point is all of this. So now when I start seeing that we've completed majority of the range and we're also starting to get like these strong wicks, it's a bit of a sign for me to now be like a bit wary of exactly what's happening here. So price drops out. I place my stop here for around about 4.5%. And then we get tagged out. As you can see, price pulls back a bit further and eventually comes back down to hit TP. So let's tally this up now. So CAD yen, we had 4.5%. Dollar yen, we had 5.1%. And then we had a -1 on pound Aussie. So of those 3 positions on a 4 hour entry, right? This is not a 5-minute entry. We made 8.6%. This was a straight to the point, very simple video. Just getting straight to the point, showing you guys the positions that I've taken. However, if you guys do want to learn how to take these style of positions, and if you're interested in how can I really get precise entries on the higher time frame, not just the lower time frames, well, the link in the description to join Falcon if you do want to. Yeah, just feel free to join. And when you do join, just send me a message, shoot me a message, and I'm glad to help with any questions. So